Well, it's raining again. It warmed up just enough to rain. Lovely. Love rain in November, which means when it cools down overnight, the ground is going to be slick as heck. So that ought to be fun for drivers. Slick as heck roads. Fun, fun, fun. I'd rather it just get cold and stay cold, to be honest. I don't like this middle of the road. Might be cold, but might warm up a little bit, just enough to make the road super icy. I don't like that. I don't like it. There's Shadowfax talking to me. There's a duck sleeping in the middle of the field grass here. Doesn't really care. Ducks do what ducks do. Anyway, let us go check on little Eclipse. I know I haven't put her on video. It's because the damage to her nose is kind of gross. When it heals a little more, I'll show you. But I don't like putting gross. Oh, she's actually out of the house. She must be feeling better. You must be feeling better, honey. Hi, darling. Oh, you are looking so much better. She's actually not hiding in the house. You are actually, I will show you up close when her face heals a little more. But she's looking so much better. We were actually worried she was going to die for a little bit there. And she's looking so, look at her. She's actually out of the house. We're glad. We're glad. She got damaged from a raccoon. Yes, guys. Yes, guys. Rowan's coming with your food shortly. Okay? He's coming shortly, I promise. Why are we all not in houses? Because the myth that if rabbits get wet, they're going to die is a myth. These guys are also not in their house. In fact, one of them is sitting on top of their house. I am blocking off half of that house when the weather turns cold, but it's not cold yet. Not cold enough, anyway. It's cold, but not. Anyway, what did I want to talk about today? I wanted to talk about the sounds on the farm. Because someone asked, isn't it noisy? Don't you hate the loud noise? Mm-mm. Is it noisy? Yeah, sure it can be. But do I hate the loud noise? Not really. So, what kind of sounds are there on a farm? Well, there's normal sounds, like the dogs barking. That happens to anyone who has a dog. And our dogs bark because there's coyotes or foxes, but regardless of why they're barking, dogs bark. Dogs barking doesn't bother me. We have cats, and cats meow. That doesn't bother me. I like cats. Cats are fairly quiet. Rabbits are completely quiet. If rabbits are being super noisy, then something's wrong. So rabbits are not a problem. We have chickens, and yeah, they crow at 4 a.m. in the summer, but I like a chicken crow. I don't mind. I'm already up anyway. I don't mind waking up to the sounds of the roosters, and the ducks are louder than the chickens, but again, I don't mind ducks being louder than chickens. The quacks, and of course there's the goat bleating and the turkey gobbling and the horse whinnying at you every time you come out. But those aren't the only sounds. You have sounds like the plane overhead, which is not what I was hoping to capture. So we'll wait till that plane goes past before I talk about some of the other sounds. But the important thing to remember is we're in the middle of nowhere. So some of the sounds we hear are not necessarily sounds you would hear if you have a farm closer to town, if it was louder. So a lot of the things we can hear in the summer, it's so quiet here. You hear the bugs buzzing in the trees. You hear them. You can hear birds' wings flapping on the air as they fly past. You can hear, it's raining right now. You can hear the rain up on the roof. Everyone who lives where there's rain hears rain on the roof. But the coyotes howling at night, the yip of a fox. If you've never heard a fox, they sound like they're screaming. It's kind of cute. The yip of a fox. The quiet rustle of deer as they pass through the trees every morning. They pass through just back here. You hear them rustle the leaves. I mean, they're quiet animals, but you hear them rustle. The sound of silence on a still day. The whisper of the wind as it moves through the leaves. The sound of leaves crunching under your feet in the fall. There are plenty in the quacking of the ducks. There are plenty of sounds on the farm. Plenty of sounds on the farm. And it's not too noisy. It would never be too noisy for me. Right now it's the sound of rain on fall leaves, which is kind of a nice sound. I'm just going to pick up some wood here and move it to this is an awfully big branch, so I thought I would drag it back to the wood pile. But I'm often asked, isn't it just too loud on a farm? I don't want a farm because all you hear are chickens all day. All you hear are the goats bleating. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you appreciate the quieter sounds too. You appreciate the louder sounds because it tells you that there's a life aplenty on your farm. Ugh, get in there. So, I'm not going to make a very long video today. I don't have time. I was live streaming this afternoon making dessert pizza. Check out the replay if you're interested. But when I hear people talk about they couldn't have a farm because they couldn't deal with all the sounds, do you prefer the sounds of the city? Do you prefer the sounds of rushing traffic? Do you prefer the sounds of your neighbors? Maybe you do. That's valid. But the sounds of the farm are the sounds of nature itself. The sounds of wind and rain and animals. It's so quiet out here that you can hear snow falling. If you've never heard snow falling, you live where it's too noisy for me. It's not a judgment. If you like living where it's loud in a different way than it is here, because I'm not saying it's not loud. Farms can be loud. There's plenty of sound on the farm. In fact, this rain is pretty loud. I'm not even standing near one of the metal roofs. And listen. It's actually pretty loud rain. And that's just falling straight on the ground. Hang on, I just gotta get my mic back on here. There we go. That's pretty loud rain. Chicken's under the deck. Chicken's coming out from under the deck. Hi, guys. Is there good stuff to eat under the deck? That's why we have never had bugs under the deck, by the way. But farms are loud. Yeah. And you could have the sound of equipment. Yeah. You know, sometimes you have tractors backing up and beeping, but all these are the sounds of a healthy farm. Something that is vibrant and energetic. Do you really want complete silence? Because no matter where you live, you don't get it. The sounds here are the sounds of nature. The sounds of animals and of the wind and the trees and the rain and the snow, thunder, lightning. Those are the sounds we live with. If you live in the city, you live with traffic and loud neighbors. I've lived in the city. I know what it sounds like. I moved there for a few years when I was young, thinking that I will forge a new life and be a city girl. No, that didn't work. Turns out the city is not for me. But if you live in the city and you love it, good. But the sounds of nature are calming, they're quieting, they're gentle. Yeah, they can be loud. I'll admit, when the roosters are crowing and the ducks are going and the turkey won't shut up, yeah, it's a little loud. That doesn't mean it's bad. Loud isn't automatically bad. I'll take the turkey who won't shut up over the sound of neighbors screaming at each other any day. But, I mean, it's personal preference. So, when someone says to me they couldn't live on a farm because it's too loud, it's really your choice of loud. Everything's loud. The howling winds that whip through here on an afternoon coming off the lake, that's loud. The tornado that ripped through the field this summer, that's loud. But those are things you can get anywhere. I think what people are talking about is the animal noises. But my choices are animal noises or city noises. And I don't mind the animal noises. At least they're quiet till a reasonable hour. They're quiet till the sun comes up most of the time. If they're not quiet till the sun comes up, you know something's going on. By the way, look at my moss path. Isn't it looking great? Isn't it looking great? We're cultivating this moss, keeping it as pristine as we can, because the idea is I want this moss everywhere. So we're trying to keep it looking great, trying to give it what it needs so that this moss spreads everywhere. I love moss paths. I do. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Because sound is everywhere. Unless you're my mom and deaf. If my mom is deaf, she doesn't have a sound problem. She has a no sound problem. But sound is everywhere. It's really just your choice of sound. I'll take the roosters at crowing at 4 a.m. over where we lived when we lived in the city, when I lived in the city. Not we. None of these people in my house, including my kids, ever lived in the city. But when I lived in the city, we lived where young kids would sometimes drag race because it was a quiet community and they were less likely to get caught by the cops. So it was loud. I'd rather the rooster crow at 4 a.m. than drag racing at midnight. Personal choice. Maybe you prefer the drag racing. That's okay. But it's just odd to me when I hear someone saying they'd rather live in the city because the sounds of a farm are too loud. They're not. Anyway, I'm going to go inside and get out of the rain. But everyone is doing well, including the rabbit that we were worried was going to die a couple days ago. She's not breathing funny anymore. She's moving around, looking good, feeling good. If she's not looking quite so gruesome in a couple days, I'll show you a picture. I'll show you on video or a picture where she lost that lip. I just don't want to do it when it's still a raw wound, because sometimes you get in trouble. But for now, we're going to go inside and get out of the rain. It's a cold rain because it's November, but I'm just hoping it stops raining before the temperature drops. We don't really want ice on the roads. But we'll live with what we've got, right? We'll see you tomorrow.